The REIY's financial analysis platform allows for a sale-leaseback analysis. The sale-leaseback analysis is found on the Proposal tab, under Module Reports, and Sale-Leaseback. Let's first review a completed sale-leaseback and then view how to input the data. The sale-leaseback analysis report is a 3-page report. The first page is a summary showing the key assumptions of the sale-leaseback analysis, a point of indifference analysis, and a 10-year cash flow chart that shows both the cash flows for the leaseback and for a hold, then the differential between the two. The second page of the sale-leaseback analysis will show the leaseback options, the net proceeds from sale if you were to sell the building now and lease it back. It will also show the actual net present value cash flow of each year in your analysis. The third page will be very similar, and it will be the hold analysis. It will be as if you did not sell the property now and continued holding the property for that same amount of time and then sold it after that period of time, in our case 10 years. You can see you have the net proceeds after 10 years and the cash flows from year 0 or now through the 10-year period. Looking back at the summary page, here you will see the two cash flows, the leaseback and the hold, and which one in effect is a better decision for the current property owner. Let's take a look at some of the information you need to input to create both of these scenarios. To do so, I am entering into the REIY's investment analysis platform. We'll start on the General tab. In the sale-leaseback analysis, there are 8 main terms that will be used in both of the cash flows that we are creating, the hold analysis and the sale-leaseback and reinvest the proceeds analysis. To create our two scenarios, let's think about each of the scenarios. The first would be the hold scenario. In this scenario, we need to know the original price that the owner purchased the building. We then need to know the original finance, so we know their annual debt service, which would be the carrying cost now through the end of the hold period. We also need to know the future value of the property at the end of the hold period. Once we have these 3 terms, we can finish the hold period analysis. Conversely, if we were to sell and lease back the property, we still need to know the original price. We then need to know the original financing, but we would need to know today's price so we can then sell the property now and release the equity from the proceeds of sale from the original price to today. We then would need to establish a rental rate for leasing back the property. We also need to establish a rate of return for what we will do with the net proceeds once we sell the property today and access the equity. These two scenarios can then be put side by side and compared in the report. On the General tab, we have areas to input today's purchase price, and this would be the value of the property today. We also then have our resale valuation for what the property will be worth at the end of the hold period. Here I have appreciation rate of 3% per year. This means after 10 years it will be the fair market value, appreciating at a 3% clip. You need to have both the purchase price and the resale information input so that we have today's value and the future value. Next, let's move to the Financials tab. The Financials tab will allow you to input a loan assumption. On a sale-leaseback, the loan must be an assumption, and you must put in the initial debt from when they originally purchased the property. You then want to put in the month that you are currently in on that loan so that it will pick up proper amortization schedule and produce the current debt remaining on this loan. Once you enter this loan, it will not only provide the amount remaining on the loan, it will also provide a monthly payment, which would be the continued carrying cost if you do not sell the property and hold it. Moving to the Income tab, we have our income table, which has our contractual lease. In the income table, you want to enter in the value of the projected rent that you would be paying if you were to sell the property and lease it back. Please note here you want to enter in the base rent, and you also want to enter in an expiration date past the term of your analysis. You also want to include any of the increases that you have between now and the end of the lease. These can be assumptions based on the market rent that you expect to pay if you are to sell the property and lease it back. Once we have completed the value and the future value on the General tab, the existing financing in place on the Financial tab, and the potential rent that you would be paying if you lease it back, we can now move to our Proposal tab and click on the Build Out box next to Sale Leaseback. This will open up an area where you can enter in further information about the original acquisition and what you would do with the equity once you sell and lease back the property. Please enter in your data from top to bottom. Here we have the cost recovery recapture rate of 35. We then have our original acquisition. This would be the price the owner paid when they purchased the building. You also need to add in the original structure amount for the depreciation purposes. You then need to put in the amount of years held. Finally, the last data field is your reinvestment rate. Please enter a rate of reinvestment for the equity that you are unlocking if you sell the property and lease it back. To create an apples-to-apples comparison, we must put the equity to work. The reinvestment rate is the rate of return on the equity that you are pulling out and putting it into another investment. Once you've completed this, please click Save and Exit. One last portion that we need to input are the tax parameters for our client. On the Financials tab, you can add in the federal income tax rate, the long-term capital gain rate, passive loss rules, and the state and income tax rate. Please enter these in with your client's parameters. Once we have completed all of these data fields, our sale leaseback report is ready. Please checkmark sale leaseback and click Preview and Save. This will create your report using all of the information you have, and it will create your side-by-side cash flows for the leaseback and for the hold.